Okay, to start class, we're going to do an old booklet, but I want you to pay attention before we get into it on the specifics of it. So let's go over this one again. If you remember details with this one, let me see if I can make this a little larger for us to look at. When you're dealing with this, remember you're supposed to multiply, right? You're supposed to multiply your two numbers here, so it'd be 5 to the 4 times 2 is 8, right? 5 to the 8th. Here, you're supposed to add when you have the same bases. Aren't these big numbers the base and the little numbers the exponent? Same bases, you add the exponents when you're multiplying, okay? And then as we keep going down, multiply, multiply, multiply. Now let's go ahead and click on this. Remember, there's a battle going on. Who wins the battle, the top or the bottom? The bottom wins. By how much? By 1, okay? And then there's 1 on the top. Why is there 1 on the top? The bottom won by 1 because of this battle that's happened. You subtracted it, but you can't leave the top empty. It has to have something holding it together, okay? As we keep going, anything to the 0 power turns into 1. 0 is like a bomb. It blows everything up. It's a 1. All right, for this one, who wins the battle? Don't forget that there is a 1 here. So who wins the battle? The top by 6, because that 1 takes a 1 away from there. Let's keep it going. You're just going to add those together. All right. Battle that happens here. What about here? Add these. I know there's a negative exponent that makes you think twice. Just add these across. What are you going to get? Well, 8 plus negative 2, right? 8 plus a negative 2 is going to be a to the 6th, okay? And then this one, you can only add A's with A's and B's with B's, all right? So you should be pretty good with this one. Okay, when we get to this one's a little more intense, but it's a to the 3rd over a to the 1st. These are all to the 1s. So this would take 1 away from there, so it'd be A2, B3, C1. Sorry, the leaf blowers are rocking. And other than that, you should be just fine on this, okay? After this, I'm sending you to your Google Classroom for a different kind of thing we've never done before. So this thing's called a Quizlet. So you've done Quizlets in other classes, possibly with Mrs. Red's class. But when you see this screen, I want you to make sure you take good notice of all the different options you have on the left. You can do all different types here. You can do a flashcard to learn it. I would suggest you either do the flashcard, you could do the matching. The gravity is kind of intense. That you've done that one maybe before, but the flashcards are really the best way. If I go ahead and click on this, I should have put dilations, used in dilations to show how big or small an image is being changed. How do you know how big or small is being changed? With the scale factor. That's a tough one. That's one of the tougher ones we have, okay? Exponent, all right? The small number next to the base. So you're going to need to know how to explain all of these, because in a second you're going to be doing a heads up activity after. So Miss Alonso, give them see how they do, maybe 8 to 10 minutes, maybe just like put a timer up and have them study all 19 of these vocab words, 19 of these words in one way or another. There's no talking. Maybe you want to put some background music on, but I want you guys studying these words because you're going to have to be able to explain them in just a second. All right. Push pause, Miss Alonso. All right, now I have a slideshow here for you guys to do a heads up activity. Remember, heads up, use your words to give clues to get them to guess the answer. You can also use gestures. That means using your hands or whatnot, okay? So can all the A's in your partnership, A's face the door, face the wall by the door. I don't want you looking at the screen, okay? All the A's face the screen. All the B's, you're going to be given the clues. Are you ready? We've done this before. B's, are you ready to give the clues? All right, in 3, in 2, in 1. Here's your clue. Here's your words. You got to get them to guess. All right, Miss Alonso, feel free to ask how they explained certain words. You could push pause and ask how they explained certain words. This is great. And then now B's, could you face the wall, and A's face the screen for the next set of words. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. Hopefully you guys had great ways of explaining what's going on. And now we're going to change gears. We're changing gears into our activity part of what we're going to be doing today, where we're going to be going through, let's get that off, okay, and going through our Pythagorean theorem. So I would like you to get a pencil out. I'm really big on my class having pencils now because I've been noticing kids not bringing their supplies. So I literally gave kids extra credit yesterday if they had a pencil. All right. So if you don't have a pencil and you're not bringing to school, I almost want Miss Alonzo to give points to kids that do have a pencil. So you're not getting penalized. You're just losing points on extra credit. Okay. All right. If you remember, we were working on this yesterday with if the triangle is a right angle or not. Let me go ahead and open up my calculator. Of course, we want to make sure we have our calculator rocking, and I would like you guys to do the same. So if you want to have your calculator in front of you and this worksheet, we're going to just kind of go through this worksheet. I think that's going to be the best way to get through it to make sure you understand, because the first couple parts aren't that difficult, but once we get into the word ones, sometimes kids kind of freak out, but they're really, the question's not difficult, but just interpreting it or figuring it out, right? So let's go ahead and look at this first problem. We can see that the hypotenuse is the longest side. So could we actually write this in our calculator? 8 squared plus 40 squared, does that equal 41 squared? And there's a couple ways we could have done this. I realized throughout the day, the way I taught you guys on the video was a little different than the way I taught my class eventually. It's the same kind of idea though, right? 80 squared plus 40 squared. And what I ended up doing is I checked to see what 41 squared was. And if it was the same thing, which is not the same, so that does not work, okay? You could do it that way, or you could do the answer as well. Could you just do square root of the answer? You could have done that same thing right. You could have done this right here where you could have gone square root of the answer, and that's 40.8. But what did we need? We did 41. We are not allowed to round. It has to be exact, okay? So if you try the next one, let's go 39 squared plus 52 squared. All right, and then I'm going to hit enter, and does that equal 65 squared? Hey, guess what? Those are both the same, so that's a yes, okay? All right, not so much worried about that. Let's go ahead and go to the bottom. I'm not going to go through every individual one with you, but I want to make sure you know how to handle this, okay? So when you're looking at this, a 9-meter ladder is placed against a wall. I need you guys to start visualizing this. And if this picture wasn't given to you, could you actually draw this out? That's a huge thing. I want you to start drawing your problems out if there's no visual. For most of these, there is a visual, all right? The foot of the ladder is 1.5 meters from the wall. How far up the wall does the ladder reach? So they want to know what this size is. Now, what part of the triangle is this one right here? This is what we have, right? And we have this is 1.5 and this is 9. Hopefully you can tell real quick that you are missing a leg. You're missing a leg. So it's leg squared, you're missing. 1.5 squared equals 9 squared. Go ahead and work with your partner and check with each other's answers to see if you get the same answer. Okay? Go for it, guys. All right, on this one, shown is a square with a side length of 5. Oh, this idea of a square. That means all of the sides are the same. And that's a part that some people get confused. They're like, well, I'm missing 2 sides. And you're really not, because it's a square. Do you see your L? All right, don't take an L in these kinds of problems. So here's your triangle, right? And you're trying to figure out the diagonal. This is 5, this is 5. You got this. 5 squared plus 5 squared equals, we're going to call it H, or no, it's X actually, my bad. X squared, okay? So this one you would have subtracted over after you squared it. This one you would have added. You're using your calculator the entire time. All right, this one, what's the perimeter of the triangle? That just means they want to figure this out, and that's a leg. All right, so you're missing a leg. Go for it. What about the area of a triangle? That's how much space is in here. That's this number. That's base times height all over 2. So if you wanted to figure that out, that'd be this number times this number. This is the base, or this is the height. This is the base, the way it looks, and then multiply it. All right. A rectangle is 20 centimeters long and 8 centimeters wide. Could you draw that for me? A rectangle is 20 centimeters long, 8 centimeters wide. We okay with that? Find the length of the diagonal. Could you do that? Of course you could. All right. Just treat it that way. If you need some help, talk to Miss Alonzo. She's got this. All right. An airplane is flying from Redville to Leek. The airplane flies 50 miles east. Okay. Never eat soggy waffles. All right. Does that make sense? Never eat soggy waffles. Okay. All right, I'm going to get this calculator out of here because it's ruining my space here. And it's going, what, 50 miles east. So it's going this way, 50 miles east. And then 180 miles south. How far is Leek from, you're going to find that number. Okay? All right, this one. Calculate the amount of wire needed. I'm going to get another paper here for this one. This one's kind of cool. A frame is made from wire. The frame is a trapezium. Calculate the total amount of wire needed. Total amount of wire. That's a total like perimeter, how much wire needed. So we need to figure out this length. Well, how do we do that? You did some of this in 7th grade. This is a composite image or composite figure. All right? What you need to figure out is what you're going to make a triangle. What is this length going to be? Well, if this is 12, shouldn't this be 12? So that's 12. So this triangle I just gave you, I'm rewriting it here. This is 12. We're going to try to figure out what this side is. We want to figure out this side and then add all the numbers up. But do we know what this side is? Think about it. Who could figure that out? If this whole thing is 14, and from here to here is 8, shouldn't this be 6? 8 plus 6 equals the whole 14. All right? Do the best you can, okay? I would love for you to finish this side, and then Miss Alonzo, feel free to go ahead and do the Hillview Pythagorean theorem converse, book it as a classic version for the whole class, like a Kahoot version. All right, you guys, do the best you can. Great job.